I want to talk immigration. For that, let's bring in Senator Kevin Cramer, North Dakota Republican. Mr. Senator, I know you're working with the Democrats on a merit-based immigration plan, only letting in highly skilled immigrants. Do you have firm Democrat support for merit-based immigration?
Well, I think there's certainly some, Stuart, on our bill. In fact, Kamala Harris is the Democratic co-sponsor of the bill, along with Mike Lee and me. And what we're trying to get at is a very specific group of merit-based immigrants, and that's the high-skilled. In North Dakota, for example, 1 out of every 20 physicians is in on an H-1B visa. In some cases, they have green cards. In some cases, it'll be 75 years before they get a green card. We also, of course, have a very large Microsoft campus in Fargo. We're in high demand for the engineers and software developers that they need. So for us, it's aimed at that H-1B visa, and particularly aimed at eliminating the per-country caps for green cards.
Look, I love the idea, merit-based immigration. That's exactly what we want. But your bill is very narrow. It only deals with just that one aspect of immigration.
Yes.
Can you get that through Congress when we don't have a comprehensive immigration plan?
You know, Stuart, you asked the obvious question, the important question, whether our piece becomes part of the larger bill, a more comprehensive bill, or whether our bill can, as a standalone bill, at least get the ball rolling. I'm for either one of those. Of course, you know that Jared Kushner and the president have been working on a merit-based program. Our bill, the language in our bill, is incorporated somewhat into their merit-based proposal, which does eliminate those per-country caps, but at the same time has a scoring system that still guards for diversity from smaller countries. So I think they're getting it. But again, whether it's standalone, sometimes I think, Stuart, frankly, a smaller piece of the apple, bite of the apple, might be the very thing that proves that we can get something done and that we can function and maybe get that ball rolling.
Yeah, it's doable. I mean, it is doable.
That's
the word. Yeah, doable.
That's the word.
May I ask you quickly about farmers?
Of course. The
president plans to spend $15 billion almost buying off farmers who are badly affected by tariffs on China trade. Do you think that's enough? And will it keep farmers behind the president in his battle with China?
Well, the premise of your question is that he's buying them off and that it's intended to keep them behind him. I think it stems from a genuine concern for our farmers and the fact that the tariff tit-for-tat that we're in right now has a negative, in fact, a disproportionate negative effect on farmers because the retaliation is aimed at farmers. I think the president views this, and he ought to view it as, my actions in the short term, although for the long-term benefit of the country, have a short-term negative impact on our farmers. It's incumbent upon us, it's really an obligation, I think, to help our farmers. The problem, Stuart, is how he uses that $15 billion is not unimportant. I don't have the silver bullet or the specific solution, but we want to make sure we don't inadvertently hurt markets, distort global markets with $15 billion. So my preference is that he buys the food, because farmers grow food to be purchased and then to be eaten, that you would buy the food and use it for goodwill and soft diplomacy rather than distort markets in some other way. But farmers would prefer to have a trade deal done, obviously.
Okay. If I said this, I just wonder if you would agree with it. I'm going to say the following. If there is no trade deal done pretty soon, the president will lose the political support of the Farm Belt, the political support of some Democrats and some Republicans in his own party. What do you say?
Well, that may very well be true, but God bless the president for having the long-term interests of the country in mind ahead of his own political ambitions. I think, we are at this point because presidents over the decades have been looking at their immediate political advantages rather than looking out for the long-term security of the country. So that may or may not be true, but I do believe that as long as he's going in the right direction, using the tools and really the weapons in his arsenal in this trade war, the most important thing is to win the trade war. I'm far more concerned about our farmers 10 and 20 years from now if we don't stop China from doing what they're doing in terms of intellectual property theft, technology theft, to include, by the way, agriculture, which has, of course, some pretty important technology.
Senator Kevin Cramer, as always, thanks for being with us, sir. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, Stuart. Thank you.
Let's get